Hello, everybody. This is Travis from Pumpkin Hill Radio. I just want to let you know that our Patreon, patreon.com/Pumpkin Hill Radio, is really shaping up over there. So if you like the content you hear on this channel, you're going to love what we got going on over there. And for our first 10 subscribers to our Patreon, it's only $1 a month to get in. That dollar buys you bonus episodes. It gets a sticker sent right to your door. You'll get shout-outs throughout the next episode of Pumpkin Hill Radio as you become the ghost co-host for that episode. All that and so much more at patreon.com/Pumpkin Hill Radio. What the hell else are you going to do with that dollar?
The difference between us is that I can feel pain.
Sounds like a real boogeyman once Freddy's coming for you.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy.
There's someone else in the hotel with us. There's a crazy woman in one of the rooms.
It's got a death curse.
This isn't science. It's more like black magic.
Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper.
Hello, my Night Owl friends, and welcome to a very special edition of Pumpkin Hill Radio. And Doss, wouldn't you say that every edition is a very special edition?
Yeah. I don't know which one isn't.
You tell me. Got my co-host Dawson Trail over there. I'm your host Travis Wormwood. Again, welcome to Pumpkin Hill Radio. Every week we cover paranormal, esoteric, high strange topics. We get into the weirdest weird. Today is no different. In fact, today is going to be an extra special, as I already said. We are the alien wars are happening now and across time and places, and we have the information you need to stay safe out there. All right. Some episodes we dig into a few different cases of things. This is going to be kind of like a potluck, if you will. Every alien is going to be bringing their own dish of things, you know.
We're in a broad spectrum UFO
from
alien.
I zeroed in on
accounts.
exactly. Broad spectrum alien accounts. I want to just name every single alien we can.
I like that.
I also have some more specified things. You know, I have like a full account at the end here of one of the strangest things, blue avians for those interested.
those are good
Skip
ones.
to the end there, but just wait around and listen to the full episode with us. Before that, let's just tell everybody to tell their friends.
Yeah. Tell them.
Yeah.
Share it on Facebook.
Share it everywhere. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. That really helps. You can leave comments in some of the ratings, and I believe at least the Apple platform. So go ahead and do that. Send in your requests for stories in the Discord link to pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com. I know just a week or two ago we did a full report on somebody's demon stories. So if you want that treatment, go ahead and hit us up.
Yeah.
And support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/pumpkinhillradio. We got monthly bonus episodes. The next bonus episode is going to be dropping. I think when you're hearing this, the bonus episode will also be out. The next Tuesday, it's going to hit up both. So
Nice.
that's going to be on that bonus episode for those interested, which you should be. Will be sort of an Elementals Part 2 that me and guest star Mitch do.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Me and Doss, a few months ago, we talked about elementals, and it's kind of just digging more into that. So check out the Patreon for that. Get excited for that. Until then, stick around and hear our free stuff. We got a lot of cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
Before we get into the alien wars, the ever-pressing alien wars, Dawson, do we want to talk anything horror this week? Anything for you that's...
I don't know actually. Well, actually, last time me, you, and Mitch recorded. After that we watched Faust.
Yes.
And then after that, me and Mitch went home and watched Faust.
Yeah. So what happened? That was that was a pleasant day. We recorded. We did a threesome recording.
It's good.
All right. A full-on roundtable, and then I had purchased a Blu-ray. This is great. This is kind of like my horror this week too.
Yeah.
Nice, because we hung out.
Yeah.
I purchased a Blu-ray of this 1926 black and white silent film called Faust. It was all just like a piano orchestration behind it, and like cutaways to the words they were saying, like the most rudimentary.
It was a classic silent film.
Yes, classic, but the effects were outstanding. There
Music,
was some
just piano music.
Yeah,
The only piano score.
You phased in and out of
nuts, man.
like realizing it was there, and then like kind of near the end, it was like really hitting, and I think I mentioned
when
I was
there's like the climax, it's like it's just some dude slamming on the fucking.
Like those keys must have been hot by the end.
Dude.
He was just hanging on it
Like
for like
I
an
was
hour and a half.
smashing the keys.
Yes. And that DVD, that Blu-ray did also come with a 1930s version with different piano music, so we might run it back.
Yeah.
some
Get
point.
that going.
That I do reckon that might be our recommendation of the week. Bring back an old segment here, recommendations of the week. I would say the 1926 Faust movie. And then it sounds like you went and saw the 80s version?
Yeah, the 80s one.
Which is probably
like
completely
early
different.
90s. Or I think it was like, it seemed like it was from the 80s. It was like from like 2002 or something.
Oh, sure. Even that's...
It was like a straight to television kind of a movie.
Wow.
It was really silly. It like reminded me, so it had like the Faust like story, but it was like almost like a superhero at the same time. Like it was like the dude got like these like devil powers. He like turned into like a devil, and it kind of reminded me of like Jim Carrey's The Mask when he turned into the devil. It was like a Jim Carrey's Mask kind of a thing. He was kind of quirky.
Yeah.
Kind of like
mask powers.
It's too hot in here.
Kind
of, too hot in here for the devil or something stupid.
A lot of that. He says talking about.
Yeah,
hot.
he was like Wolverine too. He had like only had two blades that come out of his hands.
Oh, very
like
cool.
Wolverine. It was very like a rip off of Wolverine, Daredevil.
For those listening,
and
you might hear a cat in the background. I'm gonna go.
the
let
cat's
it in
just.
now. The plan.
No, we started recording. Let's get the cat back in here.
The plan was to have her. I'm just gonna be holding her for a while. Sorry about that audio,
She
folks. We
needs
just
some
got to get the
attention.
cat in the room. That's it.
Yeah.
That happens every episode.
Yeah. There's at least one cat that needs to get in here.
Anything else horror this week, Dawson? And it's
if you want to watch
spookiest-
just a bad
Faust.
movie, Faust, from like 2000.
This will be our final episode before Halloween. We may have a Halloween special in store, but this is gonna be the final Tuesday before November
yeah,
hits.
dude.
So, any last words on the October season?
I don't know, man.
We hardly knew ye.
I'm almost going to Greece soon.
Yeah, you're out of
Holy
town.
shit.
And I expect a full book report when you come back.
Dude, I was looking
at.
around where like my hotel is the first couple nights. There's a park and there's a statue of Athena just like a block away.
Oh,
I'm going there. I'm
perfect.
Going there immediately,
If you
dude.
search Athena in the PHR podcast, whatever
Oh,
area,
yeah,
you're going to come to an episode called something with Athena in it. And you can learn all about it there, folks.
Mhm.
Because she was born out of
She's the coolest.
She's born out of Zeus's head.
Yeah,
Full armor on.
armored.
Yeah.
Fully
'Cause her
armored.
fly mother smelted it from Zeus's
high level
blood.
armors immediately.
Yeah. So go back for that
Hell
story.
yeah.
But not until the end of the episode, and not until you check out the Patreon. Horror for me this week, Dawson. I've been having crazy sleep schedules. I think I mentioned it quite a bit to you off pod because I was distressed about it. Finally got like 11 hours of sleep last night.
That's good.
But yeah, before it was
You
like
need
4
that.
days of no sleep, and all the dreams were about being awake, asking myself if I was awake. So anyway, that was a quick thing, and then also we carved pumpkins finally.
There you go.
2 nights ago. I did a very classic jack-o'-lantern kind of smiley
yeah.
dude. Added some little cheeks to him. But then Maya did like a whole. It's like the cover of Uzumaki, the spiral.
Oh yeah.
Like that girl's face with like the spiral behind her eyeball and her face kind of getting sucked into it.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
That's
Very
sick.
cool. I think she's gonna post it on her Instagram. So find that if you want to check that picture out. Yeah, she does so much better at pumpkins than me every time. I enjoy pumpkin carving a lot.
I
feel
like doing the classic.
I just do a classic one. She set out for like a whole artistic venture, so that was cool.
Yeah, I've tried doing that. It never turns out how I want, so I just staying simple.
Yeah. And then
I love a good
also I
simple.
spent a lot of this last week. I'm trying to create this like cosmic horror card game.
Yeah.
Right. So
nice.
I've been like plotting that out and getting stuff figured out. Can I read you a quick synopsis?
Yeah. What do you got?
It's okay. The game is called Threshold. Okay.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, it's also the name of the town in the middle. Like Threshold is like the middle of the town you're in. Okay. Threshold is a cooperative horror strategy card game where 1 to 3 players become sentinels, mystic guardians, wielding quantum technology and magic against cosmic horror. In this 60-minute adventure, sentinels navigate a shifting 5x5 grid of mysterious locations while managing their health and sanity resources as reality itself threatens to unravel.
Okay.
All right, Doss. There's the Eldritch Scholar, the Techno Alchemist, and the Psychic Warden classes. They all have different abilities, kind of like a tank, healer, and attacking force there. But you can also play solo. I'm like working through it. It's going to be a good. So stay tuned for that. I don't want to just sit and talk about mechanics the whole time, but it's going to be fun.
Fuck yeah.
And like it's the kind of game where you can play by yourself or with like up to 3 people. I did already develop like an expansion as well for a 4th player to come in.
Gotta get developers on it. Get it on the mobile apps.
Yeah, wouldn't that be so cool?
Gotta get
Developers.
Yeah.
Hit it
Anyone
up.
out there? Anyone know how to
Yeah.
make games?
And
No.
and then also just a little bit not horror this week, but I did end up. I was in I did like 2 talking roles in a short film for a friend
Oh yeah.
of the
nice.
podcast. That was very interesting. We had to do it after hours at the Kawa bar, so it was between like 3 and 7 in the morning. So
Yeah.
right in that haunted time,
That,
the people upstairs on like a ayahuasca trip. Like bongos were going upstairs the whole time. It was crazy energy.
Yeah,
I like
spirits about.
found myself like nervous.
Yeah.
Like not from like the spirits, but like the acting of it.
Yeah.
I
I have to perform right now.
I'm so bad. Like I can sit here and talk for an hour without like with like just a few notes.
When there's
and
like,
stuff, but-
especially dude, when there's like strangers and it's like
Yeah,
someone else's thing. When
there was,
it's your
like-
own thing, it's like I'll do whatever.
There was like 2 different sound guys and like someone doing the video and someone getting the lighting. Like it was very legit, and I was just like felt very put up on to like do this.
Yeah.
And it was fine because I like signed up for it, but I was like, we got there, and I was like, oh gosh. And Maya just did really well in her part.
Nice.
But I like fumbled the line like 4 times in a row. Like
Yeah.
I realized just how like dumb I am, or like my short-term memory is like burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
Like I had like literally 3 sentence lines.
I
And
can
it just,
improvise
like,
something, but I'm gonna like really.
I would mix them
say it
up,
wrong.
or I would just not talk. Like we'd be in the conversation, and they would both just start looking at me, and it's like, oh, that's my line.
Oh, me.
Like I think the take we ended up taking was like I talked over Maya, and we both gave our lines at the same time, which sounded kind of like genuine because that's like what happens in conversation. But it was like that was the best take we got. It was like me just kind of still spilling it out. It's pretty funny. And then like we did the next scene where like I was out of picture, but I was still talking, and then immediately I could do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the camera on me, which doesn't make
Get
sense.
a little camera
but
shy.
I don't know, because we did like a couple recordings here now with the camera on me, but that's just more of a personal venture. I don't know. I felt
That's
like
your own project too, and it's a little more.
Yeah.
It's not like you have like lines you have to like rehearse. You're kind of just going off the cuff.
Yeah. It was, and it
That's
was
fun,
kind of cool
though.
because we would read the lines, and then it's like I would say the line out loud to myself, and I'd be like, well, that doesn't sound like something that I'd be able to say like naturally. So like every line was tweaked a little bit, so it's interesting to see that like process happening. But
Yeah.
and it did it was strange. It was horror this week because the production did involve the devil.
Yeah.
And so there was like this dude in a full black suit and a cowboy hat, and he was always in red lighting for like the whole night.
That's
and it was
sick.
just like it was like an ominous presence, I guess. Like, yeah, that was
nice.
probably horror this week. Das, you want to get into the alien wars now?
Yeah, we got a lot.
Do you want to?
We have a lot.
I know that you took a ton of notes this week. It sounds like, and I applaud you for it.
Yeah.
Do you want to start? Because I'll tell you what my breakdown is. It's basically a list of the more known aliens and kind of some encounters with them, and then it's just sort of like a broader list of like 15 different aliens and some maybe exchanges, and then like a final big thing with a weird alien. Do you want to?
Well, yeah, I can go off of my notes here.
You just start reading your shit. I'll jump in whenever. We can jump around a lot.
So what I was reading off of UFOinsight.com. This article by Marcus Louth, Lowth, Lowth.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks, dude. Really good, really cool article. But he was basically getting into like these like alien abduction stories, and like just like broadly putting them all together. Like, so they like if this is happening to you a lot, it usually kind of it has signs more similar to like paranormal activities, like ghostly kind of stuff.
You said you were trying to tie some of these alien wars into what we usually talk about, and you were finding like
no,
shadow
it's like
people
it's
and
really
countries.
it's gets
Which I
into,
also that's cool because I went like straight alien for this one pretty much.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing is like that's the same thing.
Which is
it's
the
like,
same thing.
They're
Yeah.
seeing these like shadow beings. Like, what is it? There's like an account of like blacked out beings.
Yeah.
Or void of color.
Which sounds
so it's like it's either like wiped from your memory.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is like
Classic.
a possibility, or like it is just like a low vibrational like shadow.
Yeah, looking at a 5D shape, or maybe
Void.
in that case, looking at like a 2D shape. You know, something in a lower plane where it's just like I can't.
Something light doesn't even, or like 3D light doesn't even like bounce off of. It
Yeah,
wouldn't make
right.
sense.
So not saying you can't comprehend what a 2D shape is, but like
so that's
sitting
like
in a 3D platform might be crazy.
Yeah. So just going off of like the similarities from like some of these stories, and like things we've heard. So like. Sometimes they're gonna have piercing red eyes, tall, around 7 feet tall, thin, skinny, big old head.
Man, like if listeners have been constant listeners, you'll remember every single every single sleep paralysis report.
Yeah.
And pretty much all of them are red eyes, tall, skinny, just weird,
just out of like
spaces.
Weirdly proportionate.
Yeah,
and but this also has a lot of like to do with like different like reptilian Bigfoot accounts are also going to be having like glowing red eyes in a similar way. What else we got?
Well, that is, I guess, you're just touching on that it could all be the same phenomenon.
Yeah.
That's like a common thing we talk about, and it gets thrown around a lot these days. Is like, and even last episode we're talking about demons, and you're like, what's the difference between that and aliens? And maybe it's just nothing, or
like
very
demons and
angels.
angels.
Very
are
granular
like,
as to
it's all so similar because like this guy goes on, he starts theorizing about like shadow people could just be gray aliens in like a different form, like they like shapeshift almost, or like what does he get into about like he gets into this like how like energy like life manifests in different like energy forms. So there's gonna be like high vibration, which can be like the light. Then there's like low vibration where like the like void demonic ones and like bad ones.
that void space.
Bad vibes.
Nice. Okay.
What else we get in? What else we got here?
Well, no, I like that. I like that. Like just general theory.
Yeah, this guy. I don't know. I guess basically this guy just gets into like how like aliens and ghosts are maybe just these beings that control frequency and vibration. They're like masters at it. They're like at a higher level, so they can like come in and out of reality in different ways and like take you with you or take you with them or like take you like psychically with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
and like I'd say either they are the same thing or that's just like we talk about almost the earth and the universe is assigned like specific like spells basically that get used in like sacred or void like ways, and I think like different entities might be able to harness that because that's just like some background layer. It's like some background coding in reality.
Yeah. And he gets into like how he starts like just like connecting all these dots between like Crowley, like Hitler, Faustian bargains, like vampires, Bigfoots, UFO, ghosts, gods, angels, like they're all like the same thing.
He's throwing him in.
Like these are all the same thing, and this is what all.
Which
this
I
been
do
about.
appreciate those theories. Sometimes I think it's maybe like a cop out or like I mean like it's just like at some point because it becomes one of those things where again all these conversations just become like self-help, and it's like and somehow that just folds into like, well, this what's best for you is best for whatever in the universe and all that. So I get it. Doss, I think you have a lot to like probably say about stuff that I'm about to say too.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go through some stuff?
So I could just read all these notes, but I've just like summarized it.
Yeah. So let's use that.
Basically, check out the article that guy wrote.
Yeah, we'll link that.
UFO Insight.
We'll hit the link on that. Let's start at the top here.
What kind of types?
Well,
some types.
The alien wars. Okay, so
yeah.
I first have a timeline of these alleged like major alien interactions with the world.
We're talking like Illyrians?
Well, at some point, yeah, we're gonna get in there. Right now, I just for the basics. I want to bring. Sometimes we get too out there, or it feels like you need to listen to a whole different podcast to like understand what we're talking about. You know what I mean? I think I called out people for not knowing what the Travis Walton case would be. So I got like a little thing on that in here even. But let's go over just some major events here. 1947, Roswell incident. Okay, gray. That's the alleged gray spaceship crash. Right. 1954. President Eisenhower allegedly meets with extraterrestrial delegates, and that's where there's like papers.
Is that around the time? What is his name? Valiant Thor.
Yeah,
that's around that.
I believe it's all in that same boat. Yeah. But Eisenhower is alleged to have basically signed like these treaties that are like giving and taking technologies and like harvesting humans and all this stuff.
Like you can take these people, but like give us some tech.
Yeah. 1979. There's an Antarctic space war.
Yeah.
Okay. Got a little bit on that later. There is in 1995 multiple witnesses. There's that mass sighting in Zimbabwe. The aerial school down in like South Africa as well. Like there's these all those things that are on that time. 2004, the USS Nimitz encounters, which I don't know about right now. That's just in the timeline. We can dig into it though.
Well, yeah, I think that's around the time that's like Commander Fravor, that like guy with the Tic Tac video is like around. That's like I think that's like related to that. Because
up until now, 2017, that's when the Pentagon UAP program was revealed. Not created, revealed. So they've had this in the works.
They've been doing this
forever, since the Eisenhower Accords, basically. Then the more recent timeline, just year by year now, 2019, the U.S. Navy UAP footage, there's confirmation on that. There's like, they posted it, we all looked at it, we all decided, that ain't from Earth or that ain't from us.
Yeah.
Every single society.
That's some like either super top secret shit.
Like
humanity either like broke physics, figured out how to like get around it, or
which is all in the documents here. But this is where it all digs into. Because then 2020, the Pentagon's UAP task force is established, or at least it's confirmed to be established. Again, it's like these things are probably in place decades prior. 2021, multiple mass sightings worldwide. Obviously, that happens every year. 2022, increased deep sea USO activity. Okay, so that's like the videos of the Tic Tacs frictionlessly and without speed detriment, like rolling, like being an ATV, going from air to water. It's them basically dipping in and out of the water without even like affecting. It's not even like
waves, no wake.
It's not even
no
like splash. Yeah, but it's there.
No like slow down and
And then that goes up to unprecedented aerial phenomenon clusters, like these sightings we have of ships 40,000 feet in the air that we can now sight. We dug into how those could even be like sky jellyfish and stuff. All these things we can see so well. Again, we'll beat the fucking dead horse. It's like people say there's no evidence. We have cameras in our pockets and yet there's no evidence. And it's like, buddy, there's
also like so many
videos.
Like so many accounts, so many books written. Like the book that I got, that UFO Angels and UFOs, whatever. I'm like 5 chapters in on it now.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm on chapter 6 now.
He's doing a full book report. You're gonna bring that to class.
It's nuts, man. Yeah, this shit's nuts.
Right. So it's just, again, people that say that, you're just choosing not to believe it at this point.
Yeah. Well, the easiest cop out is just saying they're making it up.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone's just making it up and faking it. It's like, well,
people got better shit to do. They just do.
Like if you, it's like if you like look up, see something in the sky, like you just like I don't know, who's doing this? Why would anyone do this?
Some people are doing it for attention.
Types of these people with
not
like
everybody doing it for attention.
The strangest stories too are usually like the people that are like, I don't want to talk.
Like
about
some
this.
mundane person that wanted a normal life and that doesn't do interviews afterwards because they just want a normal life. And
like I don't want to do this anymore.
So let's get into what I'm calling the top aliens. Okay, that's what we all know about and kind of whatever some of their stuff. So we're gonna talk tall grays / grays. Even there's a distinction between that. But these are most prominently featured in witness accounts as beings known as tall grays, standing 7 to 8 feet tall, with large almond-shaped eyes and gray skin. All right, pretty much a classic picture of an alien. James Peterson, former military officer in 1979, said. They moved with such precision, almost mechanical. Their heads were large, disproportionate, but their eyes, they held knowledge that was beyond human comprehension.
So that you've heard the theories about how they're maybe like drones?
Yes.
They're like working drones?
Yes. I want to dig into that at all. Basically, it's the...
They're like biological AI.
Well, yeah, but just even biological machines. These things created... Just grown. It's you look at FTL and ways that you move about the galaxy, the nearest planet, you just can't get to it without faster than light travel. So they either have that or they're sending things a bit slower, but they're either growing them over time in the ships or they're building them, or it's like you can awaken these robot basically things when they get there, or you can transfer your consciousness to them. Literally so many ways we can dig into it.
There's been like theories too that it's like humans from the future coming back. That's why they're like so they're like humans, but they're like not like they don't have any like sex organs anymore. They've like evolved to like be more like robotic. That's why they're so like fixated on like our like reproductive DNA and all that. Like,
their primary
seeds,
agenda, as far as we
eggs.
can tell, is genetic research and hybridization programs.
Technology. They're trying to like reform back into human.
They
can reproduce on their own.
They were one of the species that Eisenhower contacted. They're in the technology exchange with select human governments and just straight up resource acquisition. It seems like pretty much everything that comes here is grabbing some type of resource, be it physical or.
So are we talking just grays in general? Because I know there's like tall grays and like the small grays.
So there's short gray. And that's where there's some distinction. There's the short gray skinned beings with large heads and big black almond-shaped eyes. They're associated with abductions and medical experiments. All right, the short grays are allegedly from Zeta Reticuli or the Orion constellation. So you're right. And that's where it's even like,
are the grays?
You throw them all.
So are the? Because I've heard like one is like real bad vibes and one's like just pretty neutral. I think the small ones are the more neutral one, like because there's like what is it? There's like the Bob video footage or whatever.
Yeah.
Gray Bob.
Yeah.
He seems pretty chill.
I think the grays, either side, tall gray or short gray, are sort of like lawful evil or like neutral chaotic, or just like they're not good, I'll say, but I think
I think it's more like they have like their own thing they're doing.
So
they're like emotionless.
That's
kind
like
of...
the Betty and Barney Hill abduction in 1961. That's the
Mhm.
classic one. That's the mixed race couple,
that's-
which they only mention that now because that was such,
That's
that was a
Travis
thing back
Walton
then.
too, right?
Yep, that's here too.
Yeah.
But Benny and Barney Hill, that was in New Hampshire, USA, 1961. The couple claimed that they were abducted by small gray beings with large heads and eyes. They reported missing time and later recalled under hypnosis being examined on a spacecraft. Betty produced images. There, you can look up the Betty Hill images that she drew of these things. It's just freaky. And I think they also experienced some physical ailments as well. And then the Travis Walton incident. There's so many case studies on this already, but this happened in 1975 in Arizona. Walton claimed he was abducted for 5 days by small, bald creatures with large eyes. He described being in a bright room and seeing human-like beings as well. All right, so I think both of those are the short, gray experiencers.
Yeah.
Next up, and we can do full episodes on every single one of these things. I do want to give like a blanket statement on the alien wars. And
I like just getting into it.
I want to just call this like part
this
one.
Is tying into this book I've read too,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy because there's so much of this information. It all ties in. So this guy, I think it's more probably like the Nordic race of the.
I got it right here.
They're very like angelic.
Yeah. So you want to talk about that, Dawson? Next up, we got the Pleiadians. They're described as nearly identical to humans, but with distinct ethereal qualities. The Pleiadians have allegedly positioned themselves as guardians of human spiritual development.
Yeah. That's like what they what is it, Raphael? So they have like archangel names.
Yeah.
That's
So
like what archangels are.
They're called the Nordics or the Pleiadians.
Yeah.
Sometimes the tall whites get mixed in there too, but they can be different. They're tall. Usually blonde, blue-eyed humanoids, often depicted as benevolent, offering
fair,
spiritual guidance.
like glowing.
And they claim to be from the Pleiades star cluster.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get into the George Adamski contact. That's in the 1950s from California. George claims repeated contact with blonde human-like aliens from Venus. He described them as peaceful and concerned about Earth's nuclear weapons. All right. There's also the Billy Meyer encounters from 1970 to present. They're kind of still going on with him. This is from Switzerland. All right. So kind of, there might even a lot more just like blonde people over there.
Well, the book I'm reading, he's in Italy. He like goes up in the mountains to like talk to these things, and he has like people coming, like his wife.
Billy Meyer?
No, this is
the
a different guy.
Okay,
But he like goes up with his wife, and she like sees him too. They like start like communicating. They're like talking about like the future of humanity and the development and like the prophecies coming to like pass.
Yeah.
And like certain things humans have to do. They're like very love based though.
Well, so
which is pretty cool.
The Billy Meyer encounter specifically, he identifies an individual of the race, a female named Semjaz.
Okay.
Semjase. I believe, I don't have it in the notes, but I believe he has like sexual encounters with them, and he actually like
nice.
It's like really goofy, but there's literally like a long blonde strand of hair that's like tied around his like wrapped around his penis in one of the encounters, and he has like short hair and like he's not, and it's just like a weird. That's like such a goofy little thing, but it's physical evidence.
Nice.
Yeah, nice,
dude. Nice.
I think he got like extracted.
Dude, if there's any Pleiadians, listen.
Any
right
Nordics. And then also, there's the Charles Hall experiences from the 1960s. This is located in Nevada at the Nellis Air Force Base. He was a former U.S. Air Force weather observer and claimed regular interactions with tall, pale humanoids at the base. He described them working with the U.S. government there.
So
the tall whites, they're
a lot of people may be wondering. Okay, so these things pick certain people, present themselves to certain people, take certain people. A lot of people are, the big question of like doubters is like, well, why don't they just like come and show themselves and like make like a big show in the sky and land on the front step of the fucking White House and tell us like, save us and do this and that. It's like, well, they got into this. They like explained it in this book I'm reading, the last chapter I read this morning, and the Raphael, this spaceman, comes down and he says like they can only intervene like so much because they don't want to interfere with like free will.
Yeah. Well,
they could come in and interfere with free will, and then they like also understand, like they have this complete understanding of like humans like psyche and like patterns, and they're like, if we come in and start telling people what to do, humans will just rebel.
Yeah.
Like great, like in an extreme way. So
definitely,
it's like, it would do more damage than good if we came back and started like telling people like the path.
Right.
So they have to like do these little drops.
That would be quote unquote like their idea of the path, because as we'll get into, a lot of these alien races have agendas And some of them are kind of against each other, and it's like I think if they made big moves like that, then they're asking for it from other races.
Exactly.
So you can
There's
only
like
actually do so much.
Because the ones that he's talking about, it's like I always take it with a grain of salt because you never, the devil can, the devil is conspiring. The devil is a snake. You know what I mean? Like you never know. Don't want to like trust anything completely.
No, yeah,
but like I guess like I don't know if I'm getting like they're slamming with your vibes. You gotta if they choose you.
Yeah, I mean this is the episode
you gotta follow that.
This is the episode where we're talking about 30 alien races at war with the world. So we need to like let go of any like.
No, exactly.
We gotta just go with it.
But like they're gonna like tell you it's like you know it's good versus evil.
Yeah,
there's like wars of good and evil. It's like biblical type shit. It's like.
Mm-hmm. So,
who knows?
So yeah, those are the tall whites. Yeah, pale humanoids, probably in the U.S. military. Unknown origins, possibly from outside our galaxy. There's also
is that what like Valiant Thor is going to be?
I think so. Yeah. There's also a sub race called the Pleiadians. They're similar to Pleiadians, but they specifically were named in the Billy Meyer context. They were described as human-like but more advanced, and I believe like semi-aquatic. Also, there's a couple of these like water races. Next up for the big ones. Okay, we did the Greys, we did the Pleiadians, and now we got the Reptilians. Okay.
These are the bad boys.
These are the ones that are said to be operating at subterranean bases. They're kind of in the dumbs.
Yep. Phil Schneider.
Yep. So there's an anonymous military contractor from 2008 that said talking about the bases. Right. He said the complex went down at least 30 levels. Each level was restricted, but level 27, that's where we saw them. Humanoid.
Who's this guy? This is anonymous?
This is anonymous. Humanoid, but definitely reptilian. They were working alongside human military personnel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these guys are reptile-like humanoids.
Have you listened to the Phil Schneider talk from like 97 or something?
I would have to take an audio clip to see.
You're gonna want to listen to that whole thing. It's like an hour and a half, and he's like at like some UFO conference, and he's like, I like was a contractor working on these like DUMs. He's like, there's at least 3 in every state. Like they're all connected by like high speed like light rail tunnels. And he talks about how like he was working in the military, just like really like mundane shit. We can do a whole episode on this guy.
Oh, we're gonna do an episode on every single one of them.
But like he talks about like he gets like called and like they kind of like tap his shoulder and like, hey, why don't you come with us? Like he was just like a mundane dude. He had a possession charge for like weed, so he was like kind of just like a shitty office worker. Mm-hmm. And this guy's like, why don't you come with me? And like he's like, you're gonna work in these like underground bases with these aliens, and he like thought it was like a joke. And then also he like shows up and he's like working with like Greys. Yeah, they're like there. They're just like talking to him like telepathically, and like these other guys are like, yeah, you want to meet the Reptilian? And then I was like, what? Oh yeah, okay. And he's like just thinking it's like some like lizard or like, and it's like just like this like lizard humanoid, and like how there's like wars going on in these DUMs and like subterranean fucking battles happening. Like he's like got like the Stavi hand. He like is missing like most of his fingers. Oh, okay. Like they're blasted off with like lasers. Yes. He has like wounds too. These like burn wounds that like.
Yeah. No, I knew what you're talking about. He has a lot of like physical evidence with that.
Yeah. He's like talking about DUMs. Like people talk about it now, but he was talking about that like 30 years ago.
Yeah, back when it'd be new to talk about. Yeah. So these guys, reptile-like humanoids, described as tall with possibly scaly skin. They're frequently portrayed as manipulative or controlling, sometimes said to be shapeshifters, okay? They have various origins, including Alpha Draconis. There's also Dracons that we have a little bit later in the series here. Their agenda is something like resource extraction and manipulation of human power structures, and they're opposing the Pleiadian influence. So, as much as these...
And I want to be clear, too. I think, generalizing with, like, human races... You can't group them all into one. I think there's like individuals that are going to be, there's going to be reptilians that are working for like the good side. There's going to be some Pleiadians that are working for
You're right.
There's like going to be like some rebels and there's going to be some fucking.
You're right. There's going to be some
on both sides.
A cool rebellion.
Like there's definitely like, hodgepodge like that.
There's like a ragtag group.
Ragtag group of these fucking, real like Star Wars like Chewie. Yeah. Chewbacca, fucking Han Solo is out there hanging out.
Playing like 3D cyber chess, whatever.
Dude. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
believe it.
That's there's a reptilian report from. It's called the Robert L. accounts from the 90s.
Nice.
Right. He just claimed that they it's just the underground military thing.
Yeah.
Described them and described their advanced technology. Let's dig into some of these. Now you'll know this one, Dawson. The Anunnaki.
Oh yeah.
Everybody that's heard anything with ancient aliens knows about the Anunnaki. These are tall humanoids, sometimes depicted with elongated skulls.
They're like the giants.
Right? They're said to be genetically engineered humans in ancient times, possibly, or we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're said to have genetically engineered. Right? So we think that maybe
they're like kind of credited with like from like what people can like take back. You know, is like if you're gonna like go like the ancient aliens route. They kind of like gave us like our intelligence and our tools.
Yeah, well, I think
kind of like
the Anunnaki were the ones that came in and like bred these. Like I think we were like a slave race to dig up gold, right?
Yeah, that's like kind of a theory. Well, it's also it ties into like the Greek mythology and like the fallen angels, like the Nephilim and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anunnaki, the Nephilim,
sometimes called the ant people. I know.
Yeah. Well, Anunnaki is a native word that means ant people.
Yeah. So they were allegedly from Nibiru, which is a hypothetical planet in our solar system. Yeah. It's also called Planet X. It's also something
hypothetical.
I did a trifold. Yeah, I don't know why I mean these.
Allegedly, yeah.
No, it's there. I did
the Black Sun.
I did a trifold like presentation that like the whole school had to walk through about Planet X when I was in like second grade. Yeah. Fucking awesome. I wish I had.
Dude, I remember that's crazy that we were like. I remember we were like talking about that.
Yeah. So like, it's long ago. I did studies on Nibiru.
Planet X is coming, guys.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I literally.
We were like not understanding it, and then you like start hearing about it now, and as like an adult, I'm like, oh yeah.
But they let me
go
off on that. It's sick.
It reminds me of my like. I did like a persuasive speech freshman year of high school on UFOs.
Oh, nice.
Being real.
Yeah, perfect, dude.
So sick.
You know what my persuasive speech was?
What?
To not smoke
cigarettes. Yeah, you're probably smoking that.
Well, yeah, right. But isn't that like a funny thing to try to like argue? It's like it's a free one. You just pass if you do that. Yeah. I also was currently smoking. That's like when I was smoking cigarettes. It was just funny, but
I remember got like a nice discussion with like there was like a teacher's like aide that was like ex-military guy, and he's like, "Oh, I think that's all kooky stuff."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm not saying it's fucking not crazy, but this is a real phenomenon. This is like a real thing happening." Damn. And he's like, "I don't know about that." And like, there's other like it was like the most involved I ever got in like a class. Like there were people that were like, it was like this is like an early morning class. Most people are like half asleep. I go off. People were like, wait, what?
Dude, that's sick that you did that.
Dude, it was sick, man.
God damn.
I remember that, and I was like, I'm like still proud of that one.
We should remake that report, and I'm gonna go ahead and make another trifold.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's get our reports going, dude.
Set it up on the street somewhere. And
dude.
Show it off on Broadway.
Hey guys, go to like find an open mic.
Yeah,
go.
Just brought a trifold with me.
All right, guys. So I have a report here.
It's on segment 1.
Let's go,
like
guys.
Well, anyway, so that's Anunnaki stuff, and that just tickles me that I did stuff so early with them.
Yeah, dude.
Then we have something called the Arcturians, all right?
Okay.
They're often described as being blue beings with large heads and eyes. They're considered highly evolved and spiritual, offering guidance and healing. They're from the Arcturus star system. So this is where we're just listing some that I might not have a bunch of information on. But you've heard of those probably. Then we have the Andromedans, typically depicted as tall, blue-skinned beings. Kind of seems like the Arcturians. I don't know.
Kind of like Dr. Manhattan.
Well, it seems like the
Avatar.
Avatar, yeah.
Okay, Avatar.
Maybe not so feline. We have some of those later. But they're from Andromeda. So they're from different star systems, I guess. But they seem relatively similar. Maybe it's relatives on an ancient scale. Then we got the Mantids. All right.
Yeah.
The mantoids. These are insectoids. Okay. These are the insect beings resembling praying mantises.
Well, I know Mitch saw that on like a DMT journey.
Yes.
A lot of people see them on DMT.
They're sometimes associated with spiritual and psychological experiences.
I think this is something people encounter in like the woods too, and like, certain like skinwalker things or like just mantids.
They're and they're like they can even be considered like from parallel dimensions. Like we really don't know where they come from. I know there's an old Red Temple tape with me talking about a specific case of a little girl like coming home from school and there's 2 gray aliens and a mantid in her living room as she's like going over to like fix a friend's VCR or something, and she gets fully picked up and taken by them, and like they vanish in the kitchen, and then I'll splice in the exact thing, but it's like she sees 2 gray aliens with a mantoid in the middle, right? And it seems like the mantoid is like controlling him, maybe. Yeah. And then like within a month, like the whole family moved Like,
Well,
they
I
just
know
left the whole house.
mantids like the Greys are like very like scientific. They're like scientists.
Like emotional.
all
Some
this.
people will say like those are like emotional.
They're very
species
like
where
yeah.
they almost you hear reports of them either taking over human bodies or something like that, or just
Yeah.
like doing experiments on us so they can see or feel emotions anymore. Like I don't know about all
They're
that.
very
could be.
Because every time I've like heard of like people like having encounters with mantids, they're like in a doctor's office, kind of like a laboratory kind of a thing.
Yeah, but yeah, they always seem. They seem like they're either in charge or like just a different.
They're like scientific, like
And
they're cold.
Some people kind of relate like insects in general to almost like robotics. Like you can see like the mechanisms in them. I would almost if the Greys are one type of machine, maybe the mantoids are a separate thing. I don't know.
The mantoids also make me think of what was it, District 9?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're kind of like mantoids.
I forgot what those called.
Those are cool aliens.
They have like a name for them, but prawns.
Prawns,
Yeah.
That was like there's
there's the Barney Breckenridge encounter from 1967. Breckenridge reported encountering a 7-foot-tall praying mantis-like being, and he claimed telepathic communications and a sense of benevolence from the entity. So that's what we got there. We'll do a full report on that one for sure. Next up, we got the Lyrians. These are the cat ones. I know you're looking forward to these. Often described as ancient progenitors or human-like races, so possibly the creators of like multiple other species. They're from the Lyra constellation.
Yeah. That like goes into like ancient Egypt and all that too. The original Sphinx, because it's like a cat body, but then like the head's so small, it's like a lot of people think they're like carved it down into a human head. Yeah.
And
even just Egyptian like cat worship and shit like that. It's like
where does all this come from? Bastet,
they also do like god. They do like there's like Anubis, and then there's like Horus, which is like the bird. We'll get into that.
But we got talk about birds. Let me.
Like, there's a reason these these are all like pop up.
Dawes, let's talk about the blue avians. Okay, these are bird-like humanoids with blue feathers, popularized by some modern UFO contactees. All right, specifically, I have something called the. You know what? I have a lot on this one. That's actually we're going to save that for the final segment. I want to go through a few more first, okay?
Let's just get some names out.
The Draconians, these are dragon-like beings, sometimes conflated with reptilians, but they're actually separate. They're from the Alpha Draconis system, and they seem to be like a conquering militaristic race, okay?
Yeah.
So they seem like not good. There's
Warriors.
something called the Arizona Wilder claim from the 90s, and that Wilder claims encountering tall, dragon-like beings she called the Dracos, distinct from typical reptilian descriptions. Okay, she associated them with alleged Illuminati rituals.
Okay.
Which, that's where, again, I've used the word already, but that's where it gets kind of granular, when it's like, how many are there, or like, are you just looking at something that just looks a little different? Like, not all humans look the same, so maybe like, it was some other type of reptilian. No, it's not like we have a designated what we look like. So some of these aliens you're seeing,
or that's the thing is like there might be like certain reptilians that are more like sophisticated, like office,
they got
like
a brute class.
And then there's like their soldier class, the grunt class,
kind of caste work there.
Who knows?
We have the Alpha Centaurians. These are human beings from Alpha Centauri. I believe that's where there's cases of people being taken to that planet and they just see humans working there. And they're like, what the fuck? They're like, what is this? There's just humans here.
Yep. I've heard that. That's another one Phil Schneider talks about.
Those are supposedly peaceful and scientifically advanced as well. I think
I think he's like went there or something. Like
that's what I mean. There's
like,
recordings of like people being like, I was there, and there was just
like the whistleblowers and shit. And it's like, I mean, obviously the first thing you want to say is like, wow, that person's insane. But I'm gonna take it for what it is.
And I know we said the reptilians were a subterranean race. We got another one, the Telosians. This is a supposed subterranean race. Why do I say supposed? It's there. It's real. They're real.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. They're a subterranean race living beneath Mount Shasta in California. We've heard of that before. We've done reports on that before.
Actually, I drove past Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
Strange area.
Weird. Yeah. Diane Robbins claimed to receive telepathic messages from beings living in a subterranean city called Telos beneath Mount Shasta, California. All right. Robbins says that Telosians are descendants of the ancient Lemurian civilization who retreated underground when the continent sank. Just huge name drops around here. We can't get bogged down by Lemuria right now, but it's there. It's in the context. She described them as being tall, youthful-looking humanoids with very long lifespans. Seems like some early biblical shit, huh?
Yep. Sounds familiar. It's all sounding alike.
Yeah, she claimed to began receiving messages in the 90s through telepathic transmissions. I know there's tons of people working with like energy work and telepathy right now.
And
Stephen
just
Greer
channelers
has like the fifth kind type thing where it's like spiritual groups trying to contact them at these days. So that's
well,
kind of
they
the norm
they
now.
straight up are like they summon like UFO sightings.
They that's
Like that's like another thing when people are like, oh, it's fake. I'm like, well, what the fuck?
and
man?
that's and then I said we don't want to get bogged down in here.
Yeah,
That's
let's
the power stuff where you're creating half of it because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
poking through from a different place. Because with all these again,
You're opening your mind and heart enough for them to like
this
even
universe is
present
too
themselves.
big
Yeah.
almost for a spacecraft of anything that we can conceive of getting to another planet. So that means they either have such intense. That's where like portals come into play for me, or piercing.
It reminds
from
me
different
too of
realities.
like Goku's instant transmission.
Yeah.
If you can like sense a certain energy, if it's powerful enough. So if you open up your mind and your heart to like a certain frequency, they can like sense it and just like appear. Like they're here now.
They're here now.
I don't know.
Any more things about Dragon Ball Z? Let's tie more stuff.
Well,
into
that's because it's another thing in the book I'm reading is they're talking about like
you're reading.
they're trying to like open up the planet Earth's like heart and mind to like these
Does
things.
the cover say Dragon Ball Akira Toriyama on it? Are
yeah,
you reading
basically?
manga?
Basically,
Yeah, it's a little bit about.
it's all
Dragon
from something, dude. It all comes from something.
So yeah, they according to Robbins, Telos is a vast, technologically advanced city with populations of over 1 million.
Jeez.
All right. The society is described as a spiritual utopia living in harmony with nature and advanced technology. She stated that Telosians aim to eventually reunite with surface humanity and share their advanced knowledge. You know what this sounds like? It sounds like the book people that read that we interviewed with the book.
Yeah.
The Shaws, Leslie.
I mean, that's
Shaw,
probably what they're talking to.
where she's talking about like ancient breakaway civilizations from like a Lemurian thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go back to the Shaw interview for like deep lore on that because they wrote a whole book and we interviewed him for a while. Few
Gotta
more
get them
here
back
before
on.
we dig into the Blue Avian.
I'm
here.
fascinated by the Blue Avians.
We have the Sasani. They're a claimed hybrid race from the future.
Oh yeah.
And those are mostly contacted by channelers. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I mean. That's the channeling thing, which
Well-
I'll throw my hat in the ring and say that you can do that.
A lot of people, they channel and it's like different. They're channeling from like different timelines, different time, like past, present, future, different.
Well, it's
universes,
like
alternate
again, like
timelines,
the spatial distance. Like that's why it almost makes more sense for things to be poking through.
I get into it and I like listen to
other
some channelers
planes.
every now and then, and they're like they'll be talking about like I'm channeling this being from a timeline where JFK didn't get assassinated, kind of shit. Not that exact thing, but it's like basically like those different things like that where it's like okay,
Yeah.
huh?
Which we'll get into like we did a little bit of like
We've mentioned
the
like automatic writing,
yeah,
and
automatic
shit.
writing and stuff, but we can do like a whole channeling episode. I
We
think
should try to channel sometime.
we got like we got like a whole year of content right here. We got to dig into.
Yeah, I
There's
know,
the Hathors are based on the Egyptian goddess Hathor, I believe.
Yeah.
Described as interdimensional beings associated with sound healing and spiritual teachings. So possibly like those cat races. So it's like you look at those ancient Egyptian stuff, and it's like, what is all this from? Is this just purely imagination? Is this things being contacted? Like, it's you can take it however way you want. I'm taking it as literally as possible right now, though. Then finally, and I did cut down this. I had probably like 10 more. A lot of them were hybrids of others.
There's hundreds.
A lot of the other ones are then hybrids of two of these species, or like a robot version of these species, kind of, or like emissaries or things like that. So the last one I have here is the Anshare. They're described as tall, blue-skinned beings living within Earth. All right. They're also featured
Inner
by
Earth,
modern
shit.
channelers and contactee claims. So yeah, there's a couple different things going on with the Earth. The blue skin seems to make sense for me, just as far as lighting. We've talked about like
Sounds about right.
inner Earth lighting with that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I have a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we can do just a bonus on this one
Let's
too, like tomorrow or some shit.
There's a couple. Oh man, where do we go? I have a lot because I have like how they are all in contact with humans and have some stuff on that.
Well, let's get into the Blue Avians here quick.
Okay.
Now, let's get it. We can go deep. We can dive a little deeper on like a bonus
Look
thing.
at all this shit I'm going over. Okay, we're
and
gonna get
record
into
it tomorrow because I know we're kind of strapped for time.
I know
here.
Dawson's got to drive me to work soon here.
Yeah.
Dawson, let's talk about the Blue Avians
We've got a half
in
hour
detail.
still.
Okay.
Okay, let's
February.
go.
Well, let's see if we got time after this, we can dig into the human connection because, we pointed out.
I mean, you have 30 minutes until 5.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Let's see what we can do here.
let's just get it. Yeah, let's get into the Blue Avians here, and then I'm down to get it on another fucking deep episode tomorrow.
we
or
can
whenever
do that.
We need to record more.
Let's do that.
Just get
February 2015. This is Location is upper Earth orbit at approximately 3:20 a.m.
Okay.
All right. This is from the guy Good. What was his name again?
Guy Good.
No, not like his name. Remember, his name was Good something. Let me just make sure I have it. I didn't put that down
Good
there.
guy.
Oh my god! It's just the name, whatever his name is. I
Yeah.
just had it written. Corey Good.
Corey
Excuse me.
Good.
All right, so let me get into it now.
Corey in the house.
This is all Corey Good's personal claims, basically. This
Corey
is
in the
like
house.
okay. Corey said the experience began with a familiar sensation. The blue. Oh wait, okay. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
A blue sphere of light appeared in my bedroom, but this time it was different. Okay, so there's already something going on here.
Yeah.
I might have even not read something else. Let's see. The sphere's frequency was higher. Okay, let me fucking figure this out. So he was already seeing this like blue sphere and this like thing coming into his room.
He's having visitations of something.
Yes, the sphere's frequency was higher, creating what I can only describe as a crystalline ringing in my consciousness.
Yeah.
As I was transported and experienced what they later explained as a consciousness merge with the sphere itself. The transport room I arrived in was unlike anything in the SSP, which is, I guess, like the space thing he was in before. I don't know. We're going to dig into more of this, but here's where we're at now. The walls seemed alive with geometric patterns that responded to thought. All right. That's when he first saw Ra Ter Ir, which we'll get into Ra Ter Ir in a second.
Oh, yeah.
There's like a lot going on here, so I didn't like put it all together. He even describes like the temperature as being like a perfect homeostasis. The walls were emanating light themselves. There was a slightly higher oxygen content as far as he could feel, and there was not quite as much gravity.
Mm-hmm.
As reported, Ra Ter Ir said, "Your world stands at a nexus of converging timelines." Good said, "I could feel each word as a packet of complete understanding." Right. Then Ra Ter Ir finishes saying, "The sphere serves as a buffer against the energetic changes occurring in your solar system." Okay.
Yeah. So this is all connecting together.
This is all connecting.
This sounds a lot like what Raphael is saying.
April 2015. He's there again. He's describing this ancient builder race facility. The chamber was a perfect dodecahedron, each wall made of what appeared to be a single piece of crystal. The blue avians appeared through the wall as if they were walking through water. 3 of them this time, each slightly different in height and feather pattern. All right. He details the crystal wall pulsing with colors and corresponding to speech. The air carrying a slight ozone scent. The sound had a crystalline quality with multiple harmonics, and gravity seemed to fluctuate. Ra Ter Ir approached and placed one of their 4 hands near my forehead. The download was intense. Centuries of history and moments. I saw the construction of the spheres, the arrival of the ancient builder race, the genetic programs, all of it in crystalline clarity. Okay? September 2015. This is near the solar observation platform in this facility. He's going there multiple times now. The platform existed in what they call frequency space, partially out of phase with normal matter. Through the observation window, as the sun appeared as a complex energetic organism. Ooh. The blue avians demonstrated how the spheres were moderating massive solar emissions. The blue avians demonstrated how the spheres were moderating massive solar emissions that would otherwise cause catastrophic effects on the Earth. So they're helping us out.
Nice. Another protecting.
Yes. The spheres seem to be made of like a living light technology, he described. And they can be like as small. The spheres can be like as big as Jupiter, apparently. He's describing intense. I don't know what he's seeing. He's seeing a lot of shit right now. He's seeing through walls that birds are walking through at this point.
Yeah.
Let's see. December 2015. And this is where now it's the Jupiter Space Station complex, okay? The transport this time was different. The blue sphere expanded to encompass a larger area. When we arrived, I found myself in a massive amphitheater. Beings of various races were seated in a circular tiers rising at least 12 levels high. Okay? The council chamber was approximately 900 feet in diameter, and holographic displays throughout. There was energy fields and consciousness scanners for security. Interactions there. a being that appeared to be made of light attempted to communicate, but the frequency was too high. Raw-Tear Ear stepped in and modulated the message to a level I could process.
Oh shit.
We could step away and talk about any of this. This is just really intense. It's just,
Yeah, I want to get more of this story.
And then they showed the assemblies. They showed the assembly Earth's probable timelines, branching like a crystalline tree. Blue Avians indicated critical nodes where humanity's collective consciousness would determine the outcome. Okay. Interesting. In early 2016, in an underground city, depth approximately 8 miles. The chamber description: the architecture blended crystal technology with organic forms. The Blue Avians appeared more solid here. Their feathers refracted light in complex patterns. 7 different inner Earth groups were present, each with distinct energy signatures. Okay. That's interesting, talking about light reflecting off the feathers in interesting ways. It almost feels like the Blue Avians aren't really like birds, and it's just like, it's that fuzziness we talk about.
Well, that's
that statickiness.
This book I'm reading too, it reminds me of that almost, where it's like a white gold light.
Yeah.
But it's like when he first appears, he like has wings. He's like
yeah.
Magnificent wings. It's like described as like this, like more beautiful than you can imagine.
Honestly, if we're talking about like straight up religion and stuff, and like the goofiest portrayal of angels, where they just have like wings, you know?
Yeah, these like humanoid things with wings. It's
That's
it could definitely get interpreted in certain ways, and like different colors and shit like that. Like they're definitely associated with different colors. Like each like archangel has like a different color associated. You know what I mean? Like
definitely.
All those like
that
candles
weird,
and
though?
shit
The lights
too?
refracting through their feathers and its complex patterns. Like it just seems like they're made up of like some other like reality or like pure data.
It's like a different, just like I don't even know. It's something like we don't have words for.
I don't have words for it.
It's like another dimension.
He
it's like
witnessed technologies such as gravity control systems, thought responsive environments, time shifted viewing devices, and consciousness amplification chambers.
Jesus.
All right. An inner Earth representative said the surface population must understand their true history. Raw-Tear Ear said the time of division ends, the cycle completes. All right.
Okay. That's a lot of crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, Corey Good, I don't know. Like, this is just the whole thing.
I'm not.
Mid 2016, Corey says the structure was alive in a way I can't still properly describe. The Blue Avians showed me how humanity's collective consciousness was being monitored and supported through the ongoing transition. And then he just detailed. Then he goes to detail the subterranean civilizations based on good, like, you know, that he talked about, which we kind of already got into. Yeah. But there's this thing called the Anshare Alliance. Basically, the Anshares are human-looking, whatever beings from Earth. I believe we might have mentioned that up top a little bit.
Sounds similar to another.
Yeah. Pale skin, white hair, larger eyes than humans with various colors, including bright blue. Slight luminescence to their skin, and they claim to have several hundred years of lifespan. They the Ashar civilization operates as a spiritual technological society. Their cities are built within massive caverns using a combination of grown crystal architecture and ancient building race technology. That was from Good's 2016 testimony. He said the depth of this place was 8 to 20 miles below the surface. The city spanned 50 miles with an estimated population of 12 to 15 million. And like a lot of crystal-based computing and transportation.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Ashar Alliance. There's also something called the Agartha network.
Yeah. Okay,
and we know about Agartha.
That's
one of the ancient underground.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Agartha sometime. Corey reported. The Agartha network is reportedly throughout Earth's crust. Network connects various inner Earth civilizations through electromagnetic tunnels. These tunnels were described as using a form of magnetic levitation technology for advanced beyond our current understanding. So, like, moving through, basically magnetic trains, but, like, moving through the whole world. I think that shit's, like, in that Godzilla movie, even. Like, it got very mainstream from all this shit. Transport tubes with speeds up to 3,000 miles an hour. Navigation is consciousness guided, right? Again, crystalline technology centers. There's something called the Omega Group, Okay, these are people that are 7 to 8 feet tall, skin is bluish white, and they're with slightly elongated heads. Sounds kind of like the Anunnaki. All right, they have bioorganic integrated technology. The Omega civilizations maintain what they call the universal records, a complete history of Earth and human development stored in crystal technology. That's from Good's 2017 account. So it does sound like the Anunnakis. If they're the ones that basically engineered us to be humans, then they would probably keep a complete history of like human development.
Yeah,
and
they keep tabs.
And I guess as far as like crystals work, I know like you can like the way that they are built, like these points, like the many different constructions within it, the constructs, you can store like minute amounts of data over these lines. I don't know how it works, but they're like building towards this technology currently. Yeah. Something called the Saturn Ancient Race. These are creatures that are 10 to 14 feet high, described as ancient humans. And all their technology was basically consciousness based. They claim to connect to Saturn's former habitable period, which I don't know what that means because Saturn's like gaseous, but there's literally so many groups. There's the Maya group, the Sentinel species. Then they talks about transportation systems, defense systems. The current relationship with the service, the Inner Earth alliances are now preparing for more open contact. But this depends on humanity's collective consciousness development. That's Good's latest update.
Well, I've been hearing like there's like channelers that are like talking about like full on contact.
Yeah, that's like happening. That's kind of been getting foretold a little bit recently.
Either like the end of this year or like 2025.
Yeah, so we'll keep our
hearing a lot of 2025. So,
well, we can
on that.
That's
keep
kind
of vibes up.
Yeah, keep the vibes up, humans. We need.
Let's go. We want this to happen. This is gonna be super cool. I think.
So that's like, and there's probably a better way to have framed that whole thing because it was just me shouting nonsense. But it just goes on to talk about how out there and how different some of these things are and how these reports are being reported. Like, I don't think most listeners have heard what I just said. Like, that seems, which is just to say
there's a lot of info. Like, as soon as you start digging into any of this, you can really just go down some holes of like what. And
really where one person reports something, there are dozens or hundreds or thousands of more reports, especially with the stuff that's this high strange, which even I'm calling it, I just described it as nonsense. I truly believe that some of this probably happened.
No, yeah.
But I just think it's to that point where it's like, you tell someone this and it's like, come on. And it's like, that's where the high strangeness of it all kicks in, where it's like
people just like laugh almost.
It's like the demon report we read last week, where it had to be prefaced with, I am not psychologically insane. I am not like in
not schizophrenic. I don't
exactly. And then we went on to just say like, it's sad that you have to say that in front of the stuff, but you almost have to provide that buffer for people to even go on to the next line. So I think this is in that pocket of extreme high strangeness, and that's where we kind of thrive on this pod. Doss,
love this shit.
We got like another minute here. I just wanted to go over quickly. We talked about the technology exchange program, the stuff that Eisenhower signed up for, basically. Dr. Thomas Reynolds, a former Silicon Valley executive, said, "What we achieved between 1947 and 1960 was impossible. The transistor's development, the integrated circuit, it wasn't natural progression. We had help." Now, here's the technology transfers that happened between then and now. We gained fiber optics in 1957 from the Gray Federation. Okay, this was initially applied in military communications, and that was in the 50s. And now we're finally getting that kind of stuff like put in our houses for like internet. Dr. Harold Mitchell, deceased in 1972 from a suspicious car accident. Mitchell's final interview a year earlier said, "They showed us how to grow the crystals. Perfect molecular alignment. When I asked why they were helping us, they said it was part of the agreement." Right there. Now, these are very different reports, but again, it's talking about like crystals and these crystalline structures. And I know it's like you throw crystals in there and all of a sudden it's like, what are we even talking about? But again, there's like ways to store information on there. There's different types. There's different straight up, like you talk about vibrations like that.
The next like big, where that is. Because like we're like at the end of like the industrial boom. We're kind of like about to hit another boom of like some sort of
it's like this like crystalline lattice. Like
it's gonna be this like crystalline like conscious technology.
Dr. Sarah Wong, who disappeared in 2019, said the MRI
disappeared.
Yeah, the MRI. We can figure out about that next episode because we're already going over.
Yeah.
This is all bonus now. But the MRI technology we reverse engineered from their scanning devices was primitive compared to the original. They could see thought patterns, emotional states, even temporal displacement within the body. Okay. So here's like the timeline of that would be in 1953. The first biotech transfer happened. In 1967, genetic manipulation protocols are going on. In 1981, advanced imaging systems are made. And in 1995, nanotech is fully initialized. They were working on it since the 1960s, but that's when they were implementing it like fully. Along with that, you want to talk about witnesses being erased. We really don't have time for it, but I want to get into it, Dawson, a little bit, and we can go into this further. But you're saying disappeared. What is that? Yeah, pretty much everybody that talks about this gets disappeared. The Phoenix Lights mass sighting, people know about that. The Phoenix Lights. James Dover, a former air traffic controller, on March 13th, 1997, said, "We tracked objects larger than anything in our arsenal, moving in formation. After I went public, everything changed." What happened to him since? In 1998, he lost his position as a air traffic controlman. In 2001, there was mysterious surveillance going on around him. In 2004, there was an attempted kidnapping. And in 2012, he was found dead at home. Official cause, heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he got unalived. The RAF Bentwaters incident, Staff Sergeant John Harrison said, what they don't tell you about Rendlesham Forest is what happened to the witnesses. So this is talking about the Rendlesham Forest. You can go on, if you just are on YouTube right now, type in Rendlesham Forest audio, and it's like a 40-minute conversation between people seeing lights in the sky.
Yeah.
I believe I cut it up for the unreleased X-File episodes. I made it into part of the intro because it's him talking. It's like, we're seeing lights in the sky moving. We're seeing this stuff. It's coming closer. It's coming closer. It's just crazy. It's scary and it's real. It's like, it's a very scary, real military report of like a UFO.
Yeah.
So Staff Sergeant John Harrison says, what they don't tell you about Rendlesham Forest is what happened to the witnesses. Of the 83 military personnel who saw something that night, 42 developed rare cancers within the decade. Coincidence? 16 are deceased, 28 experienced memory loss, 16 went into hiding, and 27 of them recanted or pushed away from the reports after suspicious circumstances. So they were like, Men in Black got to him, basically.
Yeah, and they're like, actually, nothing happened.
Angela Chen, former advanced technology. And I'm sorry, I'm just throwing all this at you. This is just really interesting. And like, this is where it is. It's, again, people say there's not any data on this. It's like people are literally disappearing from
literally so much.
Angela Chen, former advanced technology developer, said, "We were given the blueprints for quantum tunneling in 2001. Not theory, working schematics. 3 weeks later, our entire team was disbanded. I'm only talking about it now because I have terminal cancer. I have nothing left to lose."
A lot of deathbed.
The technology that they apparently received was a 0-point energy concept, room temperature superconductors, bioorganic computing, and gravity manipulation principles. Okay. I think we're gonna leave the rest. We're doing part 2 and probably part 3.
Let's do a Patreon, part 2 Patreon.
Part 2 on Patreon if you want to hear about more disappearances, more technologies,
aliens,
more of the
alien abduction, UFO.
Part 2, more of the government bases, what the hell they're hiding, what the hell we know.
I want to get more into the Phil Schneider thing too. I want you to watch that video just to like refresh yourself.
I will. Well, you know what?
We can watch it together, dude, tomorrow or something, whenever we record that.
So this month, then we're going to release 2 Patreon bonuses. We're going to do the elementals, and then we're going to do a little section of this. We're going to come on the air probably next time with even more alien stuff because I'm really into it right now. But this is where we're at. This is where we're at in this alien wars, dog.
Don't come at me with there's no fucking... That's like what thing like annoys me with like Elon Musk saying there's no evidence. There's no evidence that they exist. It's like, what are you talking about?
Fucking talking about, dude.
What the fuck are you talking about? That makes me feel like there's something and you just like have to not talk about it.
Definitely do. If you have any personal abduction or alien sighting specifically, go ahead and send those stories.
If you're a whistleblower,
to pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com.
Calling all whistleblowers, please.
Yeah, we will get your information out there. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/pumpkinhillradio. That's where you can get those new episodes, the bonus episodes. Follow the link tree for all of our socials. We're pretty active on Threads. I've been in and out of it, but it's we're working with what we can. Send in your information, and we will anything you want to talk about, we'll talk about it. Hit up the Etsy, pumpkinhillradio.etsy.com. Use code SECRET for 25% off $25 or more. And again, you can get cool pins and prints and stickers and stuff there. You can support us. And then check out our partner, Dubby.
Yeah, shout out Dubby.
We took some Dubby today. It's
Star
an
Mother.
energy supplement that's energy powder. That's
Shit gets me good,
green
man.
coffee extract. It just feels good. So
Vitamins, all the good shit.
if you want to know what fueled
Basically,
this episode,
good
it was Dubby.
natural pre-workout.
Yep. On that note, I think that's it. That's the Alien Wars Part 1.
Check out the Patreon Part 2 on this.
Yeah, we will come back to it. We're going to go in here. We're going to figure out some more stuff. I promise you this is real.
Yeah, this is it's
legit. More real than you think. I would say at least one thing I just said today is for sure real, and I believe personally that it all is. This has been Pumpkin Hill Radio. I am Travis Wormwood. That's Dawson Trailer.
Yeah, baby.
We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. Keep your head up. Keep your eyes to the sky.
Let's get you to work.
Yeah. Bye.